本気のお前と戦えて嬉しかった。だがまだ先があるだろう。これほどとはな。ああ、それでこそ我が
Episode 8 of New Gate, and whew, wow. I had to take a moment after that episode just to kind of like, come back and recenter myself, because like I felt like I literally felt like a tear go down my cheek. Like I got really teary-eyed that episode. And in all honesty, I feel like this was the best episode of New Gate all season long. And one of the big things that I tout here on the channel, if it's your first time clicking on a video, what's up? I'm Dom from the Otaku Room. Hit the subscribe button, come back for more. I'm a foolish dude, just reviewing anime and stuff. But the big thing that I'm a huge believer on when I'm reviewing anime is, does the show, and it could just be a singular episode, but did the episode that we just watched invoke some kind of emotion? And, emotion is a broad range of feelings that we have. It could be happy. It could be sad. It could be funny. It could be anger. It could be, a wide range of different feelings that you have, right? Because we have a multitude of feelings every single day, right? It's, empathy, sympathy, it just go on and on and on. And I'm a big believer that when an anime could draw out of you and me, it could just grab some emotion and pull it out of us. Whatever that emotion is, it's doing something right. The ones that aren't, right, the shows that, typically don't do well, in my personal feeling, or that I don't really enjoy, or I'm like, this wasn't so good, is the ones that you kind of remain emotionless through the show or through the episode. And those are the ones to where like you feel no different from when you hit play to when you hit stop or pause at the end or when the episode ended. Those are the ones that are always a little bit concerning, because like nothing happened, I had no feeling, it wasn't funny, I wasn't angry at that, I wasn't annoyed, I wasn't just no feeling whatsoever. So with that being said, episode 8 of New Gate, there was a couple of things that I definitely want to call out for the episode, but by and large, you have Shin dealing with a lot of emotions for Gerard. And one of the most important things I think that we found out is Gerard's time was at a pause, or at least, whether it's just him, whether it was all of Shin's confidants, regardless, whatever the case was, Gerard's time was on a pause. And that's why he was able to live so long. And essentially, his life caught up with him when Shin returned, and it's like his clock started once again. But all that time that accumulated in the last 500 years all hit him at once. And he kind of he shared with Shin, like, a week ago I just felt like my time's ending. Like it's like all that time finally caught up with me. And he doesn't know if it was a prayer or whatever the cause was specifically. It was like he was waiting for Shin to return. And, just in that, without any other contextual stuff, without anything else, just that alone is awesome. Like, that's such an awesome, you have to give the author their flowers and kudos. Like, that's just a really, really cool thing. Very sentimental. And just like, overall, just really, really cool storytelling. I think when you have like this VR MMO type thing, taking your little spin on it with your confidants or your created partner characters or whatever, kind of like their time stopping and, waiting, like basically saying that he could have been waiting. His time could have been stopped infinitely, without Shin's return if he didn't get killed or something, in some dire way or something like that. And I just think that that's a really cool storytelling thing. But ultimately, Gerard wanted Shin to battle him at full power. And, his regret in life is never getting to, because he's a warrior, he has that warrior's pride. He wants to fight who he deems the strongest. He wants to fight his master, who he holds in the highest regard. And Shin ultimately delivers on that request. And he does it like a pimp. I mean, like he does it like like he's the man. He's understanding and empathetic, and he really goes all out. And he kind of gets Gerard does get one up on him during their fight. I thought their fight was really well crafted and really well done. And ultimately, Gerard's body just kind of gives up before he can really like land that ultimate hit on the Shin. And then out of respect, Shin unleashes all of his power on Gerard, and that's his final moment, the way he wanted to. And I think it's a really cool thing in storytelling. More often than not, all of us don't get to go out the way that we want to, right? There's something that could happen today, tomorrow, a year, 100 years from now, that's just random. And I think being able to provide somebody the way they want to go out, how they envisioned it, is a really cool concept. So Shin ends up, following through on it, and Gerard goes out the way he wants to. And a couple of things before I get to the last emotional moment of the episode is one of the things that I thought was really important to this episode was Gerard talks to Shin, before the fight of, hey, he's like, hey, it's not my place, but he's like, what are you going to do about Schnee, right? And obviously this girl, for Shin, he's this 21-year-old dude, he's this really, he's this Japanese, college dude, or at least he should be in his college years, whatever the hell he's doing in his life. We haven't really gotten a full backstory, but you have to assume if he was dedicating a big portion of his life to VR games, to be top in the world or whatever, he probably wasn't married with kids, right? He was probably just some college kid or whatever. But this 21-year-old, adult dude who just played VR games. Again, we haven't gotten the full breadth of his backstory, so we don't know if his life was more complex. We don't know if he had brothers, sisters, mothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunts. We don't know his, best friend, childhood friend, girlfriend. We don't know any of that. All we know is that, at 2021, he was trapped in this game, very Kirito style for a year. And then he made, he won against the game, and then that now translated him into being beamed into the game on a permanent basis. But he asked Shin straight up, like, what are you gonna do about Schnee? And if you do find a way back to your world, what are you gonna do, pimpin'? And he's like, I'm gonna go back. And that kind of caught Gerard out of place. But it makes this is Shin has made it very clear that he wants to go back. Now the reasons for that are hard to really decipher and hard to know. But I thought it was a really important thing for him to kind of dedicate or, put his foot in the sand, at least in that specific moment, that he just doesn't care about Schnee in that way. He cares a lot, but he ultimately his goal is he's got to get back to his world. And I think it really hasn't settled in yet because it's only been a week or two since he's come back into this world at this point. I don't think it's really settled into him yet that this is a living, breathing world. And these characters that were once just digital, code, they're now these humans, the equivalent of, their human life, and, beast people and stuff like that. They're real people now. And this is a real world for however it came to be and whatever else. This is a real world. And I don't think that's fully settled into him yet. Now, I think some of that did settle in more at the end of it with having to end his friend's life with his own hands kind of thing. I think that the emotional journey and the emotions that were inflicted to him and how much it impacted him on an emotional, mental, spiritual level, I think that's settled in a bit more. But going back to the Schnee stuff, he kind of said like, hey, I'm going to get back to my world. And I wonder on how much that's going to change because I think, again, we don't know much about Shin's life, how it was before. But I will tell you that if he falls in love with Schnee or, if he begins to have those romantic feelings, I will tell you that, your family matters, of course. And, your parents matter, your sister, brother, mother, they all matter. But when it comes to choosing a life partner, there's a reason that your significant other ends up being your life partner. And it's because they are suddenly catapulted to be the most important person in the entire world. And if he didn't have that in his life before getting beamed into this game, and he has that now, I can't imagine a scenario where he leaves your life partner. And I hope that kind of makes sense. So anyways, I'm at 10 minutes. I could literally, I want to talk about this for like another 10 minutes, but I won't because no one watches 20-minute videos. So I'll cut it off there, and I'll just say that that last emotional moment with him crying in Shini's arms and stuff, I think that that is going to change, or at least I would hope that the author, you know, that would suddenly change something in him, the way he views everything. So anyways, what a fucking episode. Fantastic. I'll see you guys next week for episode 9. Peace out, my friend.